What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Transparency. It's a Wednesday night. Idaho4. We're going to talk about discovery. We're going to talk about depositions. We're going to talk about this is everything that we wanted and more. We're going to get it out of the WSU case. We're going to talk about some FOIAs. We're going to talk about the path that Jack Showalter would have walked home on the 13th. I remember back months ago, we went through Linda Lane like crazy people, looking through, hours of surveillance to see, okay, where is Jack Showalter walking back to his apartment? Mark B swears up and down, Lana, there's not a single minute missing between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. And he's not there. Yeah. Well, maybe we should just back up like a couple minutes. Maybe he just forgets getting into somebody's car and getting a ride home and getting dropped off right in front of Taylor. But we don't see that either. So trust me, we are not just accepting people at just whatever they say. Okay. Looking at it all. Now, if we want more information to come out, I'm going to need to understand why people are not on board with this WSU filing. Okay. We're at the stages, guys, that we actually have a scheduling like order. This is a court order. So remember in the Brian Colbert case, when they were like, here's the scheduling order. We're going to have motions and limine dues. You know, this is the deadline for this. This is the deadline for expert disclosures. This is the deadline for rebuttals. This is the deadline for motions suppression. You name it. Okay. Well, here we're looking, after reading this that came out a couple days ago, we're looking at probably this summer. They're probably going to start doing depositions. Okay. They're going to start exchanging discovery. And with all of this, you guys, WSU and Idaho, the University of Idaho, they work so closely together with the two universities, okay, that stuff from Idaho is going to come out in this. Obviously, we don't know anything from WSU. The stuff is either going to be there or it's not, right? And we're going to find out what in this case was preserved if they were in fact going to trial, right? What were you guys going to use from WSU? I mean, here's a guy that you're going to try to sell to the world, right? That he's this killer. He was plotting and planning this. He has this pattern of behavior that's disturbing, right? You know, all of the things that they were saying in the probable cause. I see people like, this is nuts, this is crazy, blah, 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 blah. Well, here we are. It's still trucking along. It's going to actually be where the families want it to be. They lost that. You know, WSU lost that. So for me, I'm over here like, you guys, this is our way to get more information. Like the information that we're talking about. For example, raise your hand out there if you want the Fed information. How come the federal shit is, why is Idaho protecting all the federal stuff? Meaning all the federal interviews, anything that the feds did, right? They did a shit ton in this case. The feds went and talked to Molly first. I want the Fed shit on Molly. I want to know more about this whole got new 4 tires, got a new phone right after the murders. I want to know more about that. And I would think that the FBI would be asking about that. I think that the FBI would be looking into that. I mean, Molly told all of us it, right? We all listened to the same interview. So our way into the Idaho 4 case, as of right now, with no appeal that has been filed or anything like that, is through this lawsuit. Now, I want to take us back. Do you guys remember when they put a gag order on this case? I want to talk about this gag order. We're going to talk about this gag order, okay? We're going to talk about the fact that WSU and the University of Idaho, they work together. So much so, okay? They depend on each other. But the day of the homicides, who were the first people that were contacted? Who were the first people that were contacted? The University of Idaho. After the cops got there, everyone's making their phone calls. It's the University of Idaho. It's the clique. It's the president. It's the dean, right? It's the Jody Walkers of the world, right? But I thought this was an off-campus house that had no affiliation with the university. Not only was it that the university were the first people that were called, right? They then came in, okay, and they were part of knowing information that investigators knew. Okay. So when there could be ever leaks of like how something could get out, that starts growing exponentially when, okay, we have this little group from the university, right? We have Moscow Police Department. We have Idaho State Police. Okay. We have the Latah County Sheriffs. We have the FBI. Okay. Everybody gets gagged in this case, except for the University of Idaho. Why? Why was the University of Idaho not gagged? Think about that. The University of Idaho sent out a vandal alert, right? Shelter in place. Stay away from King Street. 4 homicides, right? And then they do like the whole like, okay, you can leave. It's not like a lockdown and it's safe, whatever, roam around. Well, Mama J says so they can control the narrative. Yeah. Well, how about the fact that they wrote a freaking book in the middle of one of the biggest, if not the biggest, prosecution cases ever to come into the state of Idaho, in one of the most nationally known, if not globally known cases. In the middle of this, the University of Idaho drops a book. Talk about the nerve of the University of Idaho. Talk about the nerve to put a chapter in there that's going to say, here's a handbook on how to handle something like this. What? How about the nerve of the University of Idaho buying the house where the crimes were committed? How about the nerve of then the University of Idaho saying, we're wrecking this shit? Think about all of the stuff. Like, this is, all right, I just want to throw this out there. The University of Cincinnati, to my knowledge, has never bought a house where some crackhead down and over the Rhine was shot and killed and was murdered. The University of Cincinnati, an off-campus house, right, did not ever go and buy that house and then Burn it to the ground. I'm going to have to go check the school books on that, but I was there during the riots and that just never happened. So here, the university always wants it their way every day. Okay. They think that the coin is always heads. Okay. I thought it was donated to the university. Donated, bought, sure. Huge tax break, sure. Who knows? Backhanded deals. You think the owner of the house? You think, yeah, when they're being pushed around by the university, hey, you're going to donate this to us. Oh, I am. Yeah, because this is what we're going to do for you. You don't think that type of talks went on? Do we understand how many talks went on behind the scenes in this case? There was behind the scenes talk with this case from jump. And it was all because the University of Idaho literally thought that, like, this is our crime scene. This is our crime scene. But this is an off-campus house, and we don't really want to attach with this, okay. What are you talking about? 4 kids that go to the school and that were all of them were part of Greek life. I don't care what anybody says. They spent the majority of their lives with, Greek life. And they're picking and choosing what they want to associate themselves with. But then the big thing comes, which is the leak. And before you get to the leak, you have this gag order. Okay. And this gag order is literally, it happens like right away after the arrest of Brian Koberger, and there's a gag order. But can you believe that the University of Idaho was not gagged? What? How did that slip through and not more of a bitch was where's the media? Okay. This is mainstream media all over this case, right? And then you have the local media who, listen, they have ties to the community, the university, both there in WSU. And in order for them to get their stories, let's think about this. Kevin Fixler was one of the people that actually got to interview Bill Thompson. We actually reached out to Kevin Fixler at the beginning of this when I saw that I was like, why weren't you going to talk about the all the parties and all the noise complaints? It seems like you were going to bury that. No, you just got to it first. Oh, did we? That's not true. We got to one of them first, but we actually were able to locate and find out that some people, they asked for the report of the house, and then they didn't go any further. And it's like, why not? Don't you know the story? It's like, no, and now we know why they didn't go any further, because of these relationships. Okay. Because when somebody's telling you, hey, sit on that, don't post that, don't do this, don't do that. And these people, these media people are listening. So we get to this whole gag order. And I want you guys, because I don't know the answer to this, but I know that we can all find it together. I am very curious to know what media outlets were reporting after the gag order. Who was waving any type of a red flag to say, wait a second, why isn't the University of Idaho included in this? They were part of knowing everything, the decision making. They were part of a huge part of it was they said, hey, y'all can leave. Y'all can leave. We'll let you take your classes online. Wait, what? You all can leave. These professors are all going to work with you guys. Just go ahead and leave. Okay. Now think about that. Think about that from the perspective of, do you know that people are getting arrested for things when it's like, oh, somebody tried to flee. The person tried to flee, after the crime, they moved or they left, they relocated. Well, here in this case, fuck, that's out the window. Also, to see if anybody changes a pattern of behavior. Okay. That's out of the equation. This is the university. Okay. Then the university doesn't get gagged. And before the arrest of Brian Kober, Bill Thompson, remember, he does his horror tour, okay, and goes out and does interviews and says something like this. Well, if you guys knew what I know, you would have no problem bringing your kids back and sending your kids back to the school. You guys, he was saying this November 28th, November 30th, November 28th, November 30th. According to their investigation, they had dick and balls on a platter. That's it. They had nothing. And Bill Thompson is having press conferences coming out and saying that if you basically were privy to what I was privy to, yeah, I would send my kid back to school here. Comparing these people's statements throughout the case, because every day we just get more stuff, right? And there's just so much in this case. I'm like, okay, hey, what topic do I want to talk about tonight? Because there's just, once we get new information, then we go back and we're like, hey, do you guys remember when they did this, this, and this? And and I really want to bring it to people's attention that I see when people go at the Gonsalveses, and I'm just like, let's see here. They're the ones that told us that the prosecution was leaking shit. Them and their lawyer told us that. Blamed it on the prosecution. Okay. It was them that wanted transparency, that what the hell y'all doing? Demanding transparency, going out and telling, and basically like doing the interviews with the media to like not let the media have a spin. Everything that I'm fighting for right now, into saying like, where's mainstream media? Where's mainstream media? How do you see that crime scene and literally not say a word? I don't think that Ashley Banfield has ever done a live about the crime scene. Do you know how many lives she's made about this case? Kate, my answer to that is there's like two different parts to it. If you tell me that you had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then somebody asks me, hey, what did so-and-so say to you? Well, they told me they went to lunch, they had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and that's it. Then it comes out, there's a receipt in their car, they were at Subway. Am I lying? It would look like it, right? Oh my God, what a lying bitch. Well, no, fuck no, that's what this person told me. I'm telling you what they told me. Who's the liar? Who's a liar? It would look like me, but was it me? No, I'm just repeating what this motherfucker said. And so going back to this whole gag order. So Hitler tells Hitler has a private, like an ex parte. No, he has a closed hearing. It was not ex parte. He had a closed hearing, okay, with the parties, the families, shit like that. And it was about like, listen, all this talk and stuff on whether it's in books, movies, social media, whatever, right? It has to stop. It has to stop. Okay? It has to stop. Otherwise, I'm going to have no choice but to declare a mistrial, right? This is good old Hitler stance. The fuck are you talking about, Hitler? The university hasn't been gagged at all. And the university is the ones that are over here pumping out literally what they want when they want. And how do we know that they actually preserved, you know how many cameras there should be on a campus? How many cameras there should be on a campus? Brian Colbert supposedly was stalking that house 23 times, 12 times, 20, 1112. Where's the camera footage from 30 days, 60 days ahead of that, right? Idaho campus, right? Where's the footage? I mean, we should see this man's vehicle because we can locate the timestamps that he's supposedly in certain areas. You guys, they had his name before December 19th. Even if we just say they had it a little bit before, okay? Because like the feds are going to do like a little bit of their own, due diligence, whatever. And then, okay, here, we can give it to you SAPs. I went down and I looked at these exhibits again. They were never going to bring up the state of Idaho was never going to introduce this pattern of Brian Colbert like being a stalker. That was never ever going to even be tried to be introduced by like the way that they did it on the murder night. Surveillance camera in a car and a phone. Now here they have a chance to use a car, surveillance camera, and a phone. The night of the murders, he supposedly shuts his phone off, okay? But these other nights, he has his phone on, right? And they're able to put him in like this radius or whatever. Okay, well, you guys, if they could go back and get like, they were able to do it for WSU. Hey, let's go over to Costco or wherever the fuck he went. The Walmarts and Albertsons, wherever the hell he was. You're trying to literally make a case going backwards, and so that you didn't have to use certain things. This is the type of stuff that you would go and get. Because this is the stuff that you would need because you can't use certain things. Like, where is it? You're going to sit here and tell me that a university, they don't have the best like cloud servers that would be able to store. I mean, think about everything that goes on right now with the world, like people being coming in and mass shooting up your place and shit like that. You think that that the University of Idaho is just doesn't have anything? Like, hey, yeah, our cameras that, they last for a week and then they just overwrite. I don't buy that for a second. You guys, we're talking about specific dates, times that they're saying that Brian Colbert was in certain areas. Go look at the exhibit list. Where do they ever try to match up the phone, the car, and the surveillance camera? I can't find it in the exhibit list. How about this one? WSU's campus. Brian Colbert is allegedly being the way that he is, and these people are asking for, I need an escort. Okay. So I either have WSU police, somebody from escorting me to my car, right? You guys, those usually get marked. Those usually get like documented, okay? If you're saying that you need an escort because of somebody, okay? But there's going to be a timestamp with this. When did this happen? What day was it? During what time frame? Okay. Then we're going to go to WSU and we're going to say, hey, we need, because why were you guys doing those interviews with the staff and like his his cohorts? You're getting this material, you're getting this intelligence, which is the information like, hey, it's on this certain date and this certain date. This is what happened. And then how about then the day that he had his tickets, why aren't you going and trying to line up any of the surveillance cameras on these campuses to then him? Like, what the fuck what's going on here? Because I want you to think like a prosecutor right now. You're going to try to prosecute, okay, this case. And wouldn't you want to show a pattern of behavior that you're claiming, that you're trying to claim through police reports that you're going to have police testify to, but you're not going to have any substance to back any of this shit up? But all you had to do was go to the universities, WSU and Idaho, and say, and we know that Maria Tisdall did all this. We know that she did this from the FBI with Idaho. Because in a couple of the MPD reports, they mention her name. Now this should bother everybody, okay? You also are trying to find this vehicle, right? Which, okay, hey, let's use even more possible cameras that we can have him on campus, leaving his parking where he shouldn't be parking. Then he's driving out, you know what I mean? And maybe following him around to the point that he is actually going to, let's say, and driving past, and he has no business driving past, let's say, one of the people that he's a cohort with, okay? Or maybe he's camped out because he was debating on who he was going to kill. Cy Ray testified for the state in California in the Monica Simontelli case. And he testified by taking the phones of Monica Simontelli, the guy that she was banging, that they were having an affair with, and then that guy's friend that actually did the shooting for him, and they went together, all that shit. And he moved their phones together over like a ridiculous, like 6-month period. Why wouldn't the state have immediately sat down? Because they would have known off the rip that, hey, whoever did this, they covered their checks pretty good, right? We all see the like, you don't have to be sitting down and saying like, okay, this is like, there's no blood trail, whatever. Clearly, like, what's going on here? And you would then have to know how important in this day and age all the digital stuff is, and we have cameras and we have this. So who's all doing that? Who was assigned that? Well, what it looks like to me in these reports is that it's all the FBI, right? But who does the FBI have to work with? That would be the University of Idaho, and that would be WSU. And so what do we have? Nothing of. Stuff from WSU, stuff from the University of Idaho, and nothing from the feds. I went back and looked, and people had the option to take criminal. You know who told me this? Remember, I was having that conversation with Blaker. But you have the opportunity to take certain classes with WSU because they have superior stuff, and University of Idaho, they will recognize those credits. They do, I forget the name of it, but they have some type of program. And what type of access do kids in the criminal justice system, in the program, the criminal justice program at the University of Idaho, what type of access do they have to stuff? What's their curriculum like? What are they doing for, hey, I've never went and actually like looked, right? And then you got the WSU. What's their curriculum? We've gone over that a little bit. And WSU is known to have one of the best forensics shit. Okay. I think they're in like the top 4. and you're looking at a crime scene, right? Where you got nobody in a geofence. You got this crime scene that looks like, yeah, right? And you got to be thinking, dude, this is somebody that they know what they're doing. It almost would look like this person has committed a crime before, okay? And so remember when they called the feds in? Dude, JonBenet Ramsey's case. Remember when I said this like 3 years ago? I said, do you guys know how many federal agents were on the JonBenet Ramsey case? Do you guys know how many federal agents were on? And I was rattling off different cases. There ain't a motherfucking one that comes close to how many federal agents that they had on this case. Why? We've always said that, like, why? And remember, the feds can't come in until they're being asked to come in, right? And then it's Fry that likes to kind of paint this picture the way that he wants to paint it in the James Patterson book. I don't buy any of that shit. That I believe that James Patterson 1000% interviewed Chief Fry, no doubt about it. And Chief Fry said those things, no doubt about it, but I don't believe them. Okay. Like there's a difference. Like, so do I think that James Patterson's the liar with that? No. I think that James Fry is the liar that supplied the lie to Patterson. And so to sit here and say like Patterson's lying, no, he's not the liar. You know, because Fry said that on day one, he didn't know who was there. And he's like, saw somebody. And he's like, who is that person? And then that same person's there the next day. And he's like, then they had come up and said, like, I'm so-and-so. And basically, like, he knew the drill that you have to ask us to come in. But Fry slipped here. And he said that this Fed was already there day one. Go back and read that book. Okay. And so we have these body cams. Who the fuck's this Fed that's just lurking around day one and day two? Are we going to have to hunt down these body cams? Do you know to this day, like right now, there is nobody that has come out and said who the Cowboys were on December 8th, just after announcing the White Honda Elantra, the Nancy Lou shit. Remember? The Cowboys going in, the Cowboys coming out, they got these Washington plates and blah, 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 right? Dude, this case is like over, right? Who walked into the house on December 8th? Where's the list for that? Okay. Where's the log for that? Who walked in? Who walked out, right? Well, I went ahead and put a FOIA request in today, specifically all about that date. There has to be a log that is saying who the hell those people were. It ain't the ISP guys. ISP guys say that they have no idea what the fuck y'all are talking about. We're about to find out, though. We're about to find out. It ain't the Idaho State Police. They're claiming that it's not them. You guys, the point is that all of us wouldn't be like saying, you know, we would know this answer. I would know this answer. I don't know this answer. I do not know who those people were. And who's the Fed that was there day one, day two, and then Fry's like, okay, you're walking around here and, you know, well, yeah, I know the drill. Okay, yep, I'll take your help. And then boom, 52 to 60 FBI agents on this case. For what? For what? Now, ready for this? When I say for what, I really truly mean this. For what? What the hell were they doing? What were they doing? You have every interview that we've gotten and they've asked about drugs. People are like looking like, no, like, I have no idea where scored drugs. Scored drugs? What are you talking about? Drugs? Like what did you need 52 to 60 FBI agents for? I'm being serious. What the hell did you need? Guys, look up these other cases. They are not putting 52 to 60 FBI agents on a case. It's wild. Right? Okay. So, were the feds gagged? We don't even know who worked the case. How can we just go around, gagging people? How do we even know how to enforce this gag when we don't even know what feds were involved in this case? How do we find that out? So then you got Ann Taylor or even like the prosecution, right? And here you got the University of Idaho. But then you also have the WSU. We come to find out that WSU is being provided stuff. Were they part of the gag? I get a WSU response yesterday. I put a FOIA in, 2 of them. Been waiting. They told me it would be like in 2026. I could get my 2025 from like, I don't know. It was sometime in like the fall, early winter before like December, obviously, or January happened because it was 2025. You guys, do you guys know how many months it's been? It's been 6 months. 6 months. And then they write me yesterday to tell me that I'm asking for the work, your work schedule for the month of November and December for 2 specific people. And then I think I said, just fuck it. I want the month of November and December for everybody, just like whoever was on the schedule and when they worked. Okay. Because then I wanted to say, all right, I want to see who could have been potentially doing what, when, where, because they're on the schedule. They hit me up yesterday. I mean, so this would be like not that many pieces of paper, right? My request was 2 cents. And they said, if I need to pay through a card, it's going to be an extra 50 cents. That's for like the Curtis guy and the Daniel guy. And they said that due to staffing, they are so short staffed, something happened there. So now I'm FOIAing to find out why there's no staff at WSU. Okay. I want to know how many FOIAs have been filled by WSU since December 31st of 2025. Because you would think that they just work on FOIAs all day because of what they told me, that there is a short in people working there, and that there was emergency that happened, and it I don't know if everybody got fired. I have no idea, right? But they said, hey, this should be done and ready for you in May of this year, 2026. So then I looked at these dates that we saw. Okay. Look at these dates. May 5th, 2026, May 19th, 2026, May 26th, 2026. Deadline for Federal Rule of Civil Procedure. There's going to be a conference. Then it's the initial disclosures pursuant to the federal rule. And then right here, 5/26/2026 is the combined joint status report and discovery plan as required. So same thing. What's going to be this deadline? How is this going to work? But remember, in a civil case, we're talking about depositions here. Okay. And tell me that WSU or the parents are going to depose Brian Koberger. Also, tell me why my request I shouldn't I should have it now. But I'm just going to put tons of FOIAs in. Get them before these deadlines. But you would think that WSU is just nobody's FOIAing anything from WSU. Who has put out a FOIA from WSU? Who has done anything? Tell me the last time you guys saw a FOIA come out of WSU on someone's channel. Mainstream, nothing. Haven't seen a goddamn thing come out. So we have this little trifecta here. We have WSU, Idaho, and the feds. That's what I'm considering this trifecta. And then you have Pullman Police. Then you have the Latah County Sheriff's Office. And then you have Latah County prosecutors. And I just want someone to tell me if Bill Thompson and Ashley Jennings needed, and Josh needed all of this stuff to be able to prosecute a case, and they had to get it all in, and they have it all, okay? How could the prosecutor's office not have what I'm asking for? Like, at the bottom line. Like, and why are we going for requests through, like, Moscow Police Department records? Latah is so fucking small. It's like, you got to contact, Latah County, the prosecutors. I'm like, we've done that. They tell us to come to you guys. They say go to the agency that has the records. And I'm like, what? Y'all have the records. You adopted them, right? When you put them into evidence. We are not the custodians. Wait, what? Who? Custodians? Who's the custodians of these records? You guys, I asked for the tips. The tips before the Elantra. Like, we can now safely say that we know that these students were not calling in any tips. They weren't talking. They're either scared shitless, they don't know anything, but they're not calling in and be like, hey, guess what? I just thought about something. Hey, somebody sent me some videos. Here, you want to come pick them up? So who the fuck was calling in all these tips? And what could possibly be on these tips? I am so serious, you guys. What were people calling in? They quoted us 26 G's, $26,000 to get the tips from November 13th to December 6th. $26,000. And then they told me that they were going to be redacting these. I said, what type of redactions are we talking about? Like, I'm not going to know what the tip said, because that's the whole point of seeing if they were investigating what was coming in. And when they were deciding that something wasn't worth it, or determining, hey, this tip, we pass it on as a lead. Okay. There's a difference between a tip and a lead. A tip is anything. Then you sort through the tips to either go lead or bye-bye. So I wanted to see what tips transitioned to leads and what tips transitioned to the trash. Okay? Yeah, they said $26,000. And then they said I would not be able to know who called the tip in. I was like, but it's not an anonymous tip. You know what I mean? Wait, I can't know who called the tip in? And you can't know who the tip's about. Why? How? Why? How is that possible? I just don't think it's, I think that's wild. You guys, it would be no different. Think about this. If you guys swatted my house, somebody swatted my house, okay? Somebody swatted my house because they were being an asshole. There was nothing wrong. They're being, dicks or whatever. But they come over here body cammed up for days, okay? Come in here and take me down because of whatever the fuck they said, right? And somebody can go out and FOIA request that to get the body worn camera, to get the dash cam, to get what the fuck ever. What do I have a say in that? Like, isn't that a tip? And we get, I mean, what the hell? I want to know who called in this, who called you to come fucking lie about me and potentially put me in a huge danger. So think about this. They just did it in the Nancy Guthrie case. If you're calling in tips and being assholes and trying to extort the money from the family, they're over here talking about that we're going to do something about that. But you're going to do what? About what? Okay, well, who wants to do anything about all the fake tips that came in the Idaho case? Because there had to be a shit ton of fake tips. Because you guys, nobody was talking. I just want to see who's doing the submitting of this and what these tips could possibly be about. And then we get to see what people were determining that this should be pursued and that this one shouldn't, and things like that. I want to know if the University of Idaho had any part. They needed people, right? They didn't have anybody. Who from the University of Idaho was working the tips? I'm telling you. Before the feds took over, there was a Fed line, but there was also a regular line, right? Fuck your Fed line. I don't care about that. I want to know the personal tips. I want to know the in-house tips. I want to know who was given the tips to the station. And then who was going through them? Coomer Scott Green? Was it Jody Walker? I mean, who was privy to look at these tips? Think about it. The tips could actually help. Like, I'm going through these tips. I don't know what they mean. I don't know who any of these people are. Like, what do they start doing? Just Google searching, like, hey, somebody called in about, George Swanson over there on High Street. And they said he's been flashing cars and shit like that. And one night he was flashing cars and flashing a knife. And you should probably go over there and look at him. He's off his rocker. He's probably schizophrenic, but I think he potentially could have done this. Okay, we'll go ahead and get on that. You said about what guy? Okay, where's that at? Okay. Because then if you're tracking down the tips, right? Wouldn't that be wearing body cam to like go check out the tip? Like, for example, the one dude that we just heard said, "Hey, I just figured it was a crackhead. I just figured a crackhead broke into my truck and stole my system." And I said, "A crackhead?" I said, "Where are these crackheads hanging out and fucking on campus?" Because you're the first person has ever said that I thought it was a crackhead. I want to know, you usually see crackheads on the campus? Where? I'm genuinely curious. So so WSU has all this camera on campus. Idaho has all this camera on campus. And what did Ann Taylor say that she wanted? What was Ann Taylor adamant about getting? And she was talking about that there was just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. It was this what? I'm telling you, it was this campus shit, right? Why did Ann Taylor want that shit? Why did Ann Taylor want that shit more so than, let's say, like, I don't know, the state? My husband calls everyone a crackhead. Thank you, make yourself known. Um, Molly even said King Road was the ghetto. You know, just some crackhead. You guys, I think that that kind of matters. I want to know about these crackheads that are just walking around. What do you mean crackheads? That's not like safe because it's an oxymoron to me. Wait, there's crackheads walking around, and then everyone's saying there's like nothing like this happens in Moscow, and we just leave our doors open, and fuck, we just leave our doors just wide open. Like what? What are you talking about? But there's crackheads walking around. We didn't leave our we didn't leave our doors unlocked in Cincinnati when I was there from 2000 2005. My sister went to OU. They could say like a way safer area because you don't have the city, I guess. I don't fucking know, but they were locking their doors. The house full of girls in college. I don't know. Sexual assault's a really big thing. Everyone's just pretty nice, though. Everyone's just pretty nice. Super nice. Super nice. Um, so I was like, I have a question, and I think that we need to get it answered. And so I want to ask, and I'm going to call tomorrow. You guys can be there with me with the call. I want to know why the University of Idaho was not on the gag order. Do you guys want to know? How about how about WSU? Were they on the gag order? How about WSU police? Were they on the gag order? How about Pullman police? Hmm. What FBI agents worked with any Pullman or WSU people? You're going to sit here and tell me that the FBI only came in and worked with Moscow and Idaho State Police and the prosecutor's office, but didn't send anybody over there to WSU? Or come on, man. Do we start seeing what's going on? We talk about case closed, darling. Do you see what the fucking thing says, darling? Universe. You see what it says United States District Court? See that? You see this? Does this look closed to you? I think a lot of the questions that I have are going to get answered here in this puppy in Discovery. You guys, I want to know are the families going to put out when they get a piece of material? What's going to happen? What can happen? Can they just go and, hey, here you go, put this all out? How does that work? Anybody know? Okay. Discovery. Let's take a look. I hope we learn so much more from this lawsuit. Yeah, that's why I think people that are out there fucking going ham on it, like it's like, well, I don't think you understand the big picture here. If you want to know stuff, you want this lawsuit to go as far as it possibly can. And guess where we get to start? We have to start with depositions. We have to start with discovery process. Just like what's happening right now in the Karen Reed case. Karen Reed was just deposed on the 14th, which was yesterday. You guys know that? Karen Reed took her own deposition on the 14th. Don't know if it took the whole day. Don't know if she's going back, went there today. I just know that on the 14th of April, unless they rescheduled it, she had a deposition. Okay. You know how many people were scheduled to be deposed in that case? I don't know, something like 33 people. So here, as required by LCR 37A, all discovery matters are to be resolved by agreement if possible. If agreement is not possible prior to the filing of any discovery motions, the court directs the parties to request a conference with the court. The moving party must submit a joint statement to the court, briefly identifying the issues in dispute. The joint statement shall be no more than 3 pages and shall be filed via CMECF. Thereafter, the moving party should contact Judge Evanson's courtroom deputy to schedule a conference. Let's see. In-camera review. If the court orders a party to submit documents for in-camera review, the party shall email an electronic copy of blah, 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 blah. Now, privacy. Pursuant to LCR's 5.2a, all parties shall refrain from including or shall partially redact where exclusion is necessary the following personal data identifiers from all documents filed with the court or used as exhibits in any hearing or at trial unless otherwise ordered by the court. Here we go. Remember, I was trying to ask you guys that question a minute ago, like, well, what can we get our hands on? And how soon can we get it? You know what I mean? Does it go based on like when they're exchanging stuff that what are they gonna try to put like a protective order on stuff? Don't you think the parents are gonna be like, there's no protective order on this shit? You think the parents are like, yeah, protective order? No. I can't possibly see the parents being like, yeah, protective order. Protective order for what? Protective order for literally what? If you got to redact everything, right? I don't know how this works. I'm just saying. They can give the discovery whoever the fuck they want. So date of birth, okay, great, who cares? Name of minor children, okay, great, who cares? Social security or who cares? Financial account, who cares? Passport number, who cares? Okay, sounds great. That's all that has to be redacted. Moving on. Send us everything to do with these 2 universities who I believe try to cover their asses in this, because why would they think that they're responsible? Why would there even be a question of that? You know what I mean? Like, why would they ever think that they need to cover for themselves and each other? I just think if it's something that that's the only thing I could think of. That WSU server though, right? Where's that How come the police weren't interested in the WSU server though? How come the parents were the only ones that were interested in that? You guys, this is fucking wild to me. They weren't out to prosecute to help the victims and get justice like good old American fashion way, like have a trial, jury goes to town. This was all about money, saving people's jobs, and they didn't give a fuck about these families or these victims. And it just becomes more and more clear to me every single day that they just didn't. And I couldn't imagine being a family member and having meetings with these people and just being lied to every single fucking day. Probably not by all. Okay, let's be honest. Like, probably not by all. I bet you there was times that people probably avoided them because they were like, I can't lie to them. Just here, I'm going this way. Like, you can go. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? And so I just couldn't imagine. Then you've got people just avoiding people because it's like, I'm not going to be the person that lies to people that their kids were just murdered to. You know, like, are you like, this is wild. Whew. So then back over here, okay, we got some oral arguments. So this is just saying how the rules are. This is just a stat. Like, this is basically if it was like Hitler being up there, like, hey, this is how we do things. This is how things will be handled. So what is this? Okay. So for deadlines here, hey, please contact the judge before requesting a continuance of a trial date to a future date to ensure the court's availability after the parties obtain an approved new trial date. Then, if the court grants the stipulated motion for continuance, it will case schedule. Motions in limine. Let's see what this is about now. Let's see what's out now. All motions in limine shall be submitted in a joint brief that one contains an introductory statement summarizing the case and the context for any disputes, with each side drafting its own statement if they cannot agree. 2, presents each motion under a separate heading, below which the moving party will state its position and supporting legal authority, and the opposing party will do the same below that. Any agreed motions shall be noted as such. The joint brief must not exceed 12,600 words. You know, excluding the caption and all that shit, but okay. There we go. All right, so what kind of motions in limine are we talking about? I think anything that would violate, you're not going to get Brian Culber's, like, anything like health related, right? But what about his I don't know. Now, could this case bring out the leak? No, true question. Could this case bring out the leak? Could this case bring out the leak, like bombshell shit? You do realize in a deposition, you're under oath, okay? And there's going to be tons of people going to be deposed here. But if you ask certain questions, I think that the leak can just flourish. I mean, somebody gave somebody something. Right? Somebody knows something. This Dateline leak is why these families didn't get a trial. That's all I have to say. If these people from WSU say that they filled out police reports or they went to the police department and then there are then no police reports written up, okay? How fucking nuts is that going to be? Because either remember when Payne did a search for Ann Taylor in one of the discovery requests, which was, this is a big part, right? Remember this. Ann Taylor said, basically, run his name to see where his name would ever come up in anything to do with either one of these databases. And Payne's like, we ran the one in Pullman and his name is never said. Okay. Well, do you guys remember it was Payne, this little fucking midget man, Payne, who is now the right hand, the red right hand of Coomer Scott Green at the university. It was he, Detective Payne, who said, do not use the radio. Do you remember that? I remember it vividly. I'm like, this bastard. I was like, how was he already on it to know nobody's going to use the radio to talk about any of these cars that are the White Elantra. We don't want any radio communication, and we don't want you going up to these vehicles. How about that in a deposition? Why was that your instruction? What do you guys think about this shit? Think about this. This is crazy. The University of Idaho, 4 people are murdered, and then the university's involved in the investigation up until that arrest, and then they don't get gagged, and then they get to come out with some absolute ridiculous fucking book talking about and patting themselves on the back of how great they handled this crisis. Are you kidding me? You know what, the only thing that I think is by far that you can give them credit for is that we don't see Coomer Scott Green on any body-worn cams. Okay? But I think that's because I personally believe that got deleted. Okay? That's the only thing that they got right is, Scott, we don't have you on any body cams. We're at that house, okay? When it was called in and then everybody's coming over there. But who was sitting around the table saying we're publishing a book during the middle of a gag? Okay. In one of our topics in our chapters, it's just like, wait a second, hold on. Can you just wait to publish this until after the trial? Do you guys think that they were asked that? That's been a question that I've had for a long time. Like, it's not like the day of that you're gonna like, you're writing a book, right? So, and you're gonna have like this release date or whatever. Did they get permission? Well, who do they need to ask permission for? You know what I mean? It's the university. It's their fucking town. It's the University of Idaho runs that town. So they didn't ask anybody, right? They just said, we're just fucking writing a book. And then when we want to release this book, we'll release this book. But for what purpose? What purpose is that fucking book for? Like, let's Google this goddamn book right now. So let's go ahead and Google. Just a simple, like, Google search. Google. University of Idaho. Scott Green book. University President's Crisis Handbook. University President's Crisis Handbook. How a non-traditional leader took his alma mater from insolvents to sustainable success. Are you out of your fucking mind? C. Scott Green. Oh my God. December 5th. Okay, University of Iowa President Scott Green. Okay, remember when he went on that book tour? I know I have an episode out there. I'm like, this motherfucker is out here doing a book tour, and he went to Coeur d'Alene. And remember I said if I was the Gonsalveses, I would show up to that fucking book tour, and I'd take every book and I'd shove him so far up his fucking ass. You guys remember when I said that? I was like, this motherfucker has the audacity to do a fucking book tour and go to Coeur d'Alene. Here it is. Oh, I acknowledge that. Just give me what I want. Okay. Copies of the President's Handbook on Crisis Leadership sit on a table at a recent book signing, December 5th, 2023. This is right before they tore the fucking house down. Okay. Again, the Gonsalves is the only people fucking saying to do anything to keep that, right? Nobody else being vocal. Now, the University of Idaho President Scott Green's approach to leading the school through the three major crises is outlined in University President 3. Through 3 major crises. Are they counting COVID? Was he there for COVID? The book will be available at booksellers nationwide on Thursday, December 7th, 2023. The book. Green and co-author Temple, whatever's Kenyon, a fellow Vandal alum, will be signing copies of their book at noon Pacific time, Thursday, December 7th at the Vandal store. That you can be at Deacon Ave for. That's going to be at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time, Monday, December 11th, in the Legacy Point Room at the Idaho Water Center in Boise. Okay. And then he came back and did one in Coeur d'Alene. But the University President's Crisis Handbook tells the story of how an industry outsider led his alma mater through deep budget deficits, the COVID-19 pandemic, and a tragedy crime against 4 University of Idaho students. And then do you guys remember that Green went on each one of the kids' GoFundMes, and him and his wife donated $500 per kid? It's like, motherfucker, you can give them 50,000 per kid. Every piece of this book sale should be divided up and given to those families. Okay. Green shares how the university achieved financial solvency, set records for enrollment. Do you guys remember on the body camera? They're talking about this shit. Like how great the numbers were. And then now this has to happen. Yeah, that would be Brett Payne is having that conversation with what's his name right at the front door. I want to say it's Morris. They also research awards and fundraising and continues to support a community that is still healing. The book, published by Wiley, provides valuable lessons and key tactics, not only for leaders in higher education, but CEOs, managers, administrators, and anyone leading groups in the public or private sector. University of Idaho Vandals stakeholders. I want to know who those stakeholders are. And community members will also appreciate the insights and points of pride throughout the book. The university's proceeds from the University President's Crisis Handbook will support the Vandal Healing Garden and Memorial. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Listen, we had to come up with a way that we could pay for this memorial that we're going to give to the 4 students, this healing garden. So here we're going to write a book. And we're going to be able to produce it and publish it during a gag of which we were privy to all of this shit. And we're just going to put it all out there. How the fuck? I mean, when you actually sit down and you go in chronological order of what went on in this case, in the fuckery, and then you have the nerve. Hitler at the end has the nerve to try to blame the families as to why this case couldn't possibly go on because the Gonsalveses were talking. Are you kidding me? They're not gagged. Parents, what? They can talk about their daughter, or Maddie's family could talk about their daughter, her dad, or her grandma, Ethan's family. I mean, are you shitting me right now? The audacity of Hitler. Meanwhile, he has all these agencies that are just shitting all over the place, to include Bill Thompson and Ashley Jennings, doing whatever they want, to the point that Dateline put out they put out a bunch of them. They put out the freaking defendant's entire cell phone and painted this picture, right? And then Hitler's like, I'm not going to give you a continuation. Okay, so now you're going to fuck the families more down the road, because this could easily be overturned because of just that ruling. Just that, not to mention everything the fuck else that's gone on in this case, but all while berating family members. I mean, Idaho, something is in the water, guys. I mean, maybe we need to get like prostitution back in, in that area or something. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but the water is just not, it's just, something's just, whatever these people are doing, these judges are doing, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But, and then so the families have to sit there every single day wondering and sitting there. You guys think that we wait and wonder when like something's going to get dropped, right? Like, because we want the material. Can you imagine being the family? If there was a trial, this would have been all over and we have everything, right? And then we're all still going through everything and we could talk about whatever. But do you know what it would feel like every single day to live in like that? Like, what is today the day that, we find out something that we had no idea about because we've been lied to for the past fucking however many years, And like these bastards told us that, hey, this plea is best for everything because it's going to go, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. Like they were being just fed fucking mush, man, every day and being forced to just eat it and thinking like there's just no way that they could lie to us. Think about that. Why would you ever think that they're lying to you? You would never think that. You would never think that. Yeah, I think all the family hate's despicable. I feel like they get the brunt of it because they're the most vocal. You know what I'm saying? And you guys, I try to say it all the time. I'm like, you had so many different people thinking that they were in charge in this case, right? And can you only imagine you going and getting different answers all the time from the different people? Or when something would come up and you're being told something and then something else happens in court. And it's like, wait a second, why didn't Bill Thompson cross-examine any of Ann Taylor's, witnesses, in terms of Bill Thompson's over here saying that he wants to keep the case in Latah, and he doesn't cross-examine anybody. Do you remember like how vocal the G's were about that? But can you imagine leading up to that? Like you're hearing stuff like, hey, we're going to fight really hard to keep this here. And we believe that we can seat a jury and because yada, yada, yada. Right. And I finally got the answer to my question, why Ann Taylor used my picture, my thumbnail, and my one of my shows, because I was hashtagging Moscow murders, and that was the name of like my 4 or 5 part like doc that I put out back. And so I was using that as one of my hashtags, is like the Moscow murders. And so I'm associating Moscow with murder. And that's what was on. I went and looked at that Jack Showalter episode. And I looked at this, the description, the date, and I was looking at my hashtags. And then I went back and tried to find like that exhibit. That's the one that got stuck up there forever on the screen. And I'm like, oh, great. But it was because of my hashtag. That hashtag, the hashtag Moscow murders, was a big, people were using it. And that got a lot of traction, and then it would circulate in that area. So it's no different than like hashtag Idaho4, but like it's not being specific to that location, So of course, I mean, I don't think Ann Taylor's a dummy. She used that as, this is specific to Moscow. I mean, I'm sure people were hashtagging like Latah County, but people didn't, like, that wasn't catchy. That wasn't grabby. Here, I want to look at, Lana, what was the whole deal with the FBI going to Vargas after she testified? Bill Thompson sent them. Bill Thompson 1000% sent them. And they tried to lie and say that, well, first of all, like, her kids were there and she wasn't home yet or something like that. And then she got home, and then they came back up to the door. So I think they came to the door once, and then they went back to their, black SUV that was parked across the street to the right or to the left, like not in like the driveway. And then they tried to say that they were like acquaintances, or like that they were work colleagues of Vargas, so like her kids. And she's like, what? Like, we're not work, what? But Bill Thompson received whether it was an email, whether it was a text, Bill Thompson received something, and Bill Thompson then sent the FBI to her house. And I want to say they came from, I want to say Sacramento. These FBI people were from Cali. And they drove from whatever location that they have a headquarter. And so they went and they talked to her, and it was about, it had nothing to do with her saying anything about her testimony. Okay. It had everything to do with the industry that they were all in. And there was text messages back and forth through people. I don't know if it was afterwards or before. It had to be afterwards. All these people in the IGG world, they all knew about that loophole, and they were using it. And there was an article written in The Intercept, and what it looked like Vargas was the source for the Intercept article because of how this came out with her testimony. And I think it was like, wait, you fucking set me up. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this isn't, to try to say that I'm some whistleblower. No, like, I'm testifying in a case, and then this happens. So there was like multiple things going on, but somebody was trying to use it as a way to like, that was Bill Thompson's pitch on it, that maybe she wants to take back that testimony. And that's why I was like, why are you threatening me? Take back what testimony? Not taking back testimony. So it was like a lie, but I just think that story should come out from somebody else. Like, it's not my story to tell. It's a very interesting story, though. And I think Taylor decided to go with the article. The article speaks for itself. About that little loophole. I think it's interesting that nobody to this day knows who did the genealogy work, right? Who's the genealogist that put the tree together? How about that? Can you imagine that? It's all this time's gone by and just we don't even know who. Somebody should be really proud of the work they did, right? Because I'll tell you what, this case was never getting solved with Moscow Police Department, Idaho State Police. Like, they were never solving this case. You know what I mean? When Payne wants to get up there on the podium and say that this would have been eventually solved, have a motherfucking another one, because I'll join you right now. I'm about to go pop a Modelo. The fuck out of here, Payne. This is eventually going to get solved. Not with you. Not with these other fucking fools. The FBI, if they are not involved in this case ain't never getting solved. Ever getting solved. Never getting solved. Just not happening. That's a fact. These people were not solving this case. Sorry. The name Brian Culver was on nobody's radar, not a single one. And I'm telling you, because of the, for all we know, literally for all we know, if it wasn't for the FBI with IGG, if you think about it, would WSU in Idaho buried the shit? Buried the shit. Even if you believe Payne, like, oh, we would eventually solve this. First of all, how? But don't you think the universities have way more, like, I mean, like, well, we need someone, if this is an unsolved, like, thing, what do you, like, I don't know. There was one person that warned not to use IGG. Do you remember that, Lana? There was one person that warned. I don't know what that means. There's some people that warned who. I know that some people said that they hid behind IGG, meaning that they acted like they used it and they didn't. And there's another way that they got to Brian Culver, and then maybe it was used down the road. I don't know. There's only two ways that you couldn't produce the receipt that you have to pay when you have to upload the profile in the regular database. You have to produce, like, there's receipts for that. It will show that you went about it the right way. If you cannot produce those receipts that you paid for and you had to upload the profile this way and do all this, then that means that you did not do it like that, which is not by the book, which is not by the protocol of how you're supposed to be doing stuff with the interim, you know. And they didn't obtain search warrants and stuff like that, which is by their interim, you know, policy. It's very interesting that they chose to just not follow the interim policy, but yet, you know how much money they made off of getting grants to have this cold case IGG unit? G-unit. Think about this. This is just all of this type of stuff that would have just, this is the embarrassing part. This is like the outing the process part. And, you know, just not a good look for Idaho. They've had a rough, like I said, I don't know what's in the water. Oh, you're talking about Don Daniels? Oh, are you talking about, oh, there was one person that warned not to use. Oh, you're talking about, okay, Dawn Daniels. She was the one that, I don't know, I want to say, like, warned. It was like, what did Dawn Daniels know as to why she was like, just exclude this and would you still give me probable cause? But I think that in and of itself is wild. Nobody ever says in an affidavit, hey, I have this, but don't use it. Just use this. I've never heard of any of that ever happen, like that way that you would ever write that ever in the history. I've read a lot of probable causes and I've just never seen that ever. You don't mention that. You know what I mean? Like, If you don't want them to use something, it doesn't go on there. Policy schmolicy. There you go. Let's see. Thank you there, though. I didn't get to say thank you, hot girl. Is it Bummer? Okay, hot girl Bummer. I like that name. Nice. If, yeah, in my opinion, if you cannot trust the process, equal you cannot trust the result. Yeah, that's my problem. Hey, we're always going to agree on that. This case didn't stand a chance from the beginning. That's what always smelled weird to me, is like, how'd you get to Brian Culver? Because anybody that reads that affidavit knows that this is not how you got to him. And we were right. I was right. I said that since day one. If I went to town on that, I was like, they did not get to Brian Culver this way, because it doesn't make any sense. And you know how many people are like creaming their pants over that fucking affidavit? I'm like, yeah, why don't you read it a couple more times? It's not good. They lied. It's just lies. And then if we ask ourselves a true question here, why would Bill Thompson really go away from the whole stalking thing? If you could it would better your case. Okay, think about this. Let's just even say it's not true. Okay, but they could kind of like present it that it was. All right, wouldn't that bolster your case if you were Bill Thompson to portray Brian Culver as he was prowling around, stalking, and just looking for, okay, hey, who am I going to do this to? I've been waiting to want to do this, and I come over here, and all right, like I have to be out and I have to try to find, that would require, that's the whole plotting and planning and stalking. Okay. If you have people from WSU that could, like, I don't know, corroborate all of this, and they're over here saying, oh my God, I want to press charge. Like, now think about this. I want to press charges. So after Brian Culver was arrested, okay, the girl that needed to get walked out of class and that she was having problems with, right? And she goes forward and she's like, I want to press charges against him. He was the one that was stalking and harassing me. Like, what the fuck? And then another person's like, yeah, my house was broken into. And so here's WSU. Well, let's see. During the Karen Reed trial, they charged her, and then they went and then they upcharged her, right? Because of what? After the grand jury, what they presented to the grand jury, right? So here you have a situation, and you could have all these ways to, like, file, I guess you could say, more charges on him, or, like muddy him up more. Why did they do it? Wouldn't that have helped Bill Thompson and Ashley Jennings to explain this to the jury? That this was only a matter of question of who for Brian Culver. Okay. He was out here prowling. You understand? So, and there's only one answer for this. And it's to protect the fucking schools. To protect the schools. You could not. Bill Thompson was basically barred from going that route. No, you can't do that. Oh my God. That's going to like, oh my God, you can't fucking do that. You cannot say that. Stop talking about that. Wait, why? Because he should have been in trouble for it. That's going to make the university, WSU, look what? Really, really fucking bad. Because anybody, like, how are you going to present this to the jury? Here's a complete stranger to these girls. He never crosses their path. Their phone's never in the same place. All this shit, right? Fuck, I don't even think we have the phone data of one of the victims. You know, if I'm reading into this correctly, and if what we're sitting here and saying is that there is no, if they're not able to get into Kaylee's phone, you guys, if you can't get into somebody's phone, how are you downloading it? You understand what I'm saying? Like, to plug it in, to Cellbrite download it and go through the different forensic tools. How can you do that if you couldn't get into the phone? And I can't just I'm waiting for more information on that, but Bill Thompson, wouldn't it be an easier sell to the jury? And not just like a sell to them, because they need to wrap their hands around this like whole, like, he doesn't have a motive here. He doesn't know them. Why is he killing them? Why not the people that, you know, whatever, like, well, because it wasn't a matter of like, it was, and then potentially like he had already kind of made people feel a type of way in that area, so he had to move on over to Idaho. As a prosecutor, these are all things that anything to bolster your case. And so if these people in this WSU lawsuit here, if they depose the people that supposedly talked to the police and said, yeah, I told my superiors this, I told the police this, they walked me out, blah, blah, blah. They said there's really not much we can do. You know, he's got to have to do X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, like, but I'm sure that they would have documented that, right? So you don't think that, I'm just saying other cases, they charged Turtle Boy. They charged him, and then they just recently charged him again with the whole dancing in front of the fucking camera or whatever. So here you have people that, if they would have, after he was, let's say, after he gets arrested, and they were like, oh my God, see, I fucking told you, this guy. And let's say that these girls would have went to the WSU people. Remember when I told you I called Don Daniels and I said, hey, I'm following up with a lead. Have people called up and said, I want any and all open cases where Brian Colbert, like, are you guys going to be pressing charges on Brian Colbert for this shit that's gone on WSU's campus? And she's like, we have followed up with everything. And I said, and you don't have any, there's no charges out there. Is Brian Colbert getting charged with anything? Anything more? You know what I mean? Like, because of these girls, if they wanted to press charges, right? And that shows a pattern, a history. This is like, if it was documented before this ever happened, they can't be just making it up after the fact, right? So do they have like text messages? Do they have emails, right? And these girls are like, dude, fuck this. Like, we told you this guy was doing this shit to us. We want to press charges. We'll press charges about what? What do you want to press charges for? That mother breaking and entering. He broke into my apartment. Like, did they ever go to her apartment? I'm just asking and saying, hey, well, has he ever been here before? Would he have any reason to touch anything? Maybe we can dust for some prints. I don't fucking know. Right? Right? I'm just saying, wouldn't you at this point, they asked the public for help because they were trying to build more of a case against him. Don't you think WSU gave them a fucking bigger case to show a pattern, which would be really, really important for the jury to see? Because if the jury isn't going to hear about any of that shit, then I think it's a way taller and longer leap, okay, to say, here's this dude, he did it. But we didn't get to him any type of way. Like, I don't even know how we got to him. We don't even know that answer. I mean, come on, right? So it just, you should just ask yourself the question, why? Because we would know that they have no problem lying or even like fudging shit. So here, this would make your job a whole lot easier. Show Brian Kohlberger as this fucking stalking bastard, right? Why didn't he do it? Why didn't Bill Thompson had no problem lying in the probable cause, right? So why aren't you adding this narrative to it, right? You have it, especially like these women came forward, right? Is it because it's WSU and it would fuck with them? Is it because WSU didn't take any police reports and actually write any of this shit down, or they never they weren't following protocol? This is why. This is why right here. This. The potentiality of this one day. They didn't go about investigating this case from jump or closing this case out from jump because of money. Everything that they did in this case was because of money. Everything. Every fucking thing. So I just have to ask ourselves, is if that's the case, then maybe the motive in all of this would be money. You know what I mean? Money, 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 money. I'm just saying that could not leave the possibilities of things for me, because this university and WSU only care about money. Money. But right here, this is why Bill Thompson couldn't go that route, because you are going to take all of us the fuck down. You're going to take the University of Idaho down, and you're going to take WSU down. We cannot talk about anything about this man being a threat on campus, and we did not fucking do anything about it, because that's how it will get spun, and then we're going to still be fucked on the end of like a civil case. That's how, like, one should have to ask themselves, you would always beef up your case, especially if you have it. What would be holding you back? And then you have to ask yourself, why didn't they ever go and look at the server immediately when you found out that he was living in the step 2 apartments? You would have went immediately, because you know what these people sign. They sign their privacy rights completely away to you. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, like, you have no privacy rights. None when you're living over there. You still have step 2 apartments, boom, 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 sign. They can come in whenever they want to your apartment. They can get into the server. They can do whatever they fucking want. Okay. And so explain to me how, when his name came about, and if you're trying to get a search warrant for, let's say, like his phone, dude, go get WSU to give you all that shit to make your case, to be able to then get a search warrant for the phone data to do with what you want to do with AT&T, right? Instead, they're just like, no, we're just gonna lie about the fucking. We're just gonna lie. We're just gonna lie. We're gonna cut corners and lie. Why? Like, because we're just gonna railroad people, and we're just never going to trial, right? This is never going to trial, and because this just can't go to trial, like all this discovery, like, oh my God, like this is a fucking mess type of thing, or I don't fucking know, but it's just like this is never going to trial, so we can just do whatever we want. We're going to make sure this never goes to trial, because it can't, because it all started so fucked up, right? Sad, but it's true. So, I don't think this is about money, which means that if WSU goes to like say, hey, we just want to offer a settlement, like, we don't think that we did anything wrong, but we understand your family's pain. We want everyone to be able to start healing. Okay. We want everyone to be able to start healing. So How about how about 100 mil? Nope. You guys don't want 100 mil a piece? That's $20 million a family? Nope. $20 million. Nope. What do you guys want? 200 million? That's 40 million a family? Or my math's off. Actually, no, that's like 25, so that'd be 50. So 25 million? Nope. Okay, 50 million a family? No. Hmm. What is it that you want? We want the truth. we wanted what we've always the truth. We want the truth. They could win and get the truth out. They could win their lawsuit because if the truth comes out and there was all these people that truly went, I think, and I don't know. I think they're just sitting on something big here because I think they should be labeling him a stalker. I think that's an easier sell. And then Bill Thompson was like, oh my God, if you say that word one more time, I'm going to kill all of you motherfuckers, basically. Like, he's like, and I'm saying, why the fuck is he acting like this? The timing advance records, we can only prove that with the timing advance records. So we can't act like we ever had those. Could this be like a multitude of things? Yeah. But I think the biggest things, they have to be the universities. They have to be the universities. No. Well, accidentally the truth comes out. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think that we need to really support this. I think we can get a lot of fucking answers. A lot of answers. I do. Way more than we're going to get right now, unless there's an appeal. If Brian wants to appeal, he'd win. In my opinion, he'd win the appeal because this is just so fucking bad. But doesn't mean I think he's innocent. That crime scene, for them to just go ahead and just be like fine with saying that that was one person in that amount of time. If you want to say that's one person, okay, well then figure out truly how much time he was in that house. And fucking who cares about that car? Okay, like people walk around all the time on college campuses. We don't have Jack Showalter walking home. You know what I mean? Like I just because somebody that would be trying to commit the perfect crime and they didn't just clean up their little footprints. Okay. They got completely butt-ass naked after they killed the people upstairs. Either change the murder weapon. They had to change the gloves that they were wearing. They had to change out the murder weapon. They had to change out their clothes. Okay. I don't even think rinsing off the knife would have worked. That's too much of a risk. Okay. To make sure that nothing transferred. There's no blood mixture between and no transfer stains. Like your clothes rubbing up. They were rubbing up in Xana's room after you've already been upstairs in Maddie and Kaylee's room. That's nowhere there. There's no mixtures of those four. Everything either is a mixture of, the two upstairs or the two on the second floor. There's no mixtures or even like one with, the two. None. You know how much time I think that would have taken? Ain't no way they did this in 7 minutes. No fucking way. And I could just see that this would be something that would, when I was talking about on my live the other night, it would be like, you're committing these crimes, and I'm saying that's two separate crime scenes. because the rooms are, and you're dividing it up. Like that would be part of the plan. Okay? Part of the plan is to commit this crime that it would be, to that you would think that multiple people did it, right? But you would need time to do this. This doesn't happen in no fucking 3 minutes. Are you insane? What's up, Mark B, baby? Car last seen at 13:30 cam at 4:07, 37 seconds. At least one more minute to get into the house. Yep, exactly. Me and Bella go over this like all the time. She's always like, and she's like, Alana, it could be done. I'm like, no, not with the forensics that's in that house. Not now with what we know. But they knew all of this like so early on. And so when you have that many officers that are involved in the case, how are you getting all of them to say, yeah, this is one person and it happened in 4 minutes? 60 people agreeing to that. You can't even get 5 people on vacation to agree to go to the same goddamn restaurant to eat and to get fucking drunk off of the same cold beer that's going to be at all these other places. So there's got to be people that would have been in that investigation that were like, dude, this is more than one person. Dude, we're looking for more than one murder weapon because of, what happened upstairs. And then, come on. Like, because of the scene. So this wasn't someone just that changed and took out a knife. This is somebody that would have had to change their everything that they were wearing and then put on different clothes. Okay. And then and maybe it was because they only planned on doing what they did upstairs. So they were all going to be changed out, and then they just what? Then they're in fresh clothes. And they were not planned because they tried to wait long enough, and ran in then to the possibilities to sit here and say that the person that did this did not change after committing the crimes upstairs. I will fight you all day on that. No fucking way. There is no mixture with Xana and Ethan with anybody from upstairs. Not a single mixture, not a transfer stain. When you would be, they were in a Xana in the killer Brian, right? He says, I did it. They were in a knockdown, drag out fight in the middle of her room. Like both of Xana wasn't fighting with herself. I mean, people are going all over there. And then Brian and her, they're rubbing up on stuff, right? For nothing to be in that room of Kaylee or Maddie in Xana's room, the probability of that, after just killing 2 people upstairs and not transferring, I mean, nothing got transferred into that bedroom, into Xana's bedroom. Why didn't they really go ahead and reenact that and see if they could do it? Go try it like 100 times. Like go get a place that y'all rent and set something up where, hey, we're going to do this over and over and over. How is it possible? Go just get 2 different rooms in an apartment complex and do some training exercises and see how the fuck. Go get the pig's blood that y'all buy. It's expensive as fuck. We've looked at it before to get like a mannequin with the pig with the blood in it. Those things can run you anywhere between like $1,200 to like $5,000. But that's what the money should be spent on, right? Go see how you can do this. Go see if this is how this could be possible. And then look at how the crime scene looks, and then look at your demonstrations. Go ahead, go do that. They had the audacity to say that we're going to do a run timing of this and go into the different rooms and just count out per stabbing per person. That's how they reenacted the time. And they did it as early as November 21st, 2022. Why were they so adamant to make it so that this had to have happened in this time frame? All I would have said is, dude, this car could have potentially been like the drop-off person, right? And they're just driving around, circling around. Hey, like, are you ready to go yet? Something like that. Like, hey, I'll be standing out there standing for you, like, because there's nobody gonna be using any cell phones. So you just keep looping around until you see me like standing out there waiting to get in your car, right? But they knew on November 21st, 2022, if not a little bit before that, that they had to fit this in that time frame. Why? Why? You didn't have anything back. Well, actually, on the 21st, what you had is you just had DNA on the sheath, but you did not know who it belonged to, supposedly, allegedly. And you have this vehicle, but you also have all these other spots on, that are unknowns. You don't get the glove until the 23rd or 24th, but you're not even done. You're not even testing things. Like, but once you would have seen that, hey, the item that's on the sheath, that person's DNA, who you don't know who it is yet, you would at least know this, though. It's nowhere in anywhere else in the house. Capiche? And it's definitely not in that bedroom. That's the second floor bedroom where it was an absolute fucking, we're talking about people standing up and fighting. And fighting for their life. You want to talk about thuds, you want to talk about people getting thrown around, the DNA on that sheath was nowhere else in that house. And the DNA of the two victims upstairs that's with that sheath, that's nowhere else in the house, that's also not in that bedroom. So the sheath DNA isn't in that bedroom, and the two victims that are upstairs is not in Xana and where they sleep. I'm a numbers person. Do you know what the fucking probability of all of that is? Oh, there was definitely a fight in Xana's room. Remember when everybody was told that everybody was just sleeping? That's what these families were told. You know how crazy that is to be told that, and then on the day that you do your plea deal and you're all there to give your victim impacts, you also find out that wait, what? My daughter, her face wasn't recognizable? And wait a second, excuse me, wait, what? There could be another murder weapon? You just lied to us. Lied to us for 3 fucking years. 3 years. And then on the day that, and then you lie to all of us individually so that we would all agree to this stupid fucking deal, which you know what I mean? Like, which I don't even think everybody did agree, right? There was still people that were like, no, we don't want to do this. But on the day that, like, wow. I don't know. I think that the criminal justice world would be, and the FBI would be a lot better off speaking to Brian Colbert than they ever would be speaking to that fucking ogre piece of shit from Gilgo Beach who claims that he's going to help the FBI do shit, right? I want to know how Brian Colbert was a ninja in 4 minutes and didn't transfer any fucking blood from the one bedroom to the other bedroom. Don't you think that you could have got him to fine, hey, you're not going to give us where the murder weapon is. Okay. How did you get no blood? What did you do in between? What time did this start? How'd you get there? What'd you do where'd you go to get in? How'd you get in? There's no sign of forced entry. Just because that slider's open does not mean dick about getting in. How'd you get in? Where'd you go first? How'd you know the layout of the house? Did you see Dylan? All this type of shit. Don't you think that could be a potential to help the police down the road to know that? I have no idea how he did it, but I'll tell you that there's no way that he did. I want to know how he did it in 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So when you want to talk about, like, I hear about the Gilgo guy cutting a deal, but he actually said stuff about like what he did, and he didn't just say like guilty and then just sat there. You know, he actually gave information. Didn't happen in this case. And I think that sucks for the families. Don't you think that would lead somebody to believe that if they're planning on appealing, they could never say that? That's why I think the appeal is looming, because that was never, I mean, Bill Thompson come out here and say whatever he wants. Like, we didn't ask him for that because they were just going to lie. You know what I mean? We got him to say, guilty to all four. There was no deal here. Okay, well, I believe he got a deal because his life was spared and you guys were trying to kill him. That's a deal to me. But if he has to admit some of this other stuff that I just mentioned, because it would be like really big and important to talk about, how was his car so clean? How was there no trail? How'd you cover his tracks? Stuff like that. Don't you think that would have been, what he did with his phone? But you didn't get any of that. And now you have these families. And because of the way you handled all of this, then every single day they have to live with the fact of, is this the day that Brian Culver says, you know what? I want a fucking trial. Who should ever have to live like that? That's why I want it to happen right now. Like, come out, let's go. Like, say you want to go to trial right now. Because who is that ultimately going to benefit? The families. The families. The families. And since the state doesn't give a fuck about the families, maybe we should care about the families. Why can't we care about the families and care about the truth at the same time? I think that we can. I think that that's important. But I couldn't imagine every single day wondering if today is going to be the day that Brian Culver says, I want a trial, and he will get it. In my opinion, he will get it. I think that he should get it. I think that he meets the requirements to get it. I think that he should have had a preliminary hearing, right? Just every phase of this was all fucked. And at every phase, the families were getting fucked. Who the hell spends all this type of money to then say, we'll do a plea deal? Who does that? Yeah, no Frank's hearing. There should have been one. Ashley Jennings admits to it, that there should have been one. Because when Brett Payne admits to the fact that we didn't have Brian Kohlberger's name before December 19th, and it's like, oh God. Okay, perfect. And did you have any of these items that you're listing here? Like, how did you? Yep, nope. So nothing that's in here comes Yep, we got it all from IGG because of that name. Well, then there's your probable cause. And here's Hitler. I guess I just wasn't paying attention. I wasn't listening. Because he says, absolutely was he identified from that vehicle. Oh, man. Get out of here. That's not what anybody has ever claimed in and under oath. But Hitler wrote it, and Hitler just like, dude, are you just asking to make this so easy for Brian in an appeal? Because he's just making shit up. Like, absolutely was he identified by that white car. Wait, what? No. They just told you that they didn't make any identifications from anything other than Ridge Road at 401. Okay. And that just, means nothing. That means nothing. And it came after the FBI and they said the family tree. This is your boy Payne just on the stand. Unbelievable. But hey, let's just keep Idaho, just the state that just keeps on giving, man. It's like herpes. It's forever. Idaho and the fuck ups. They just keep, I'm telling you, it's a communicable disease over there. Okay. So we're going to start asking this little trifecta that they kind of created here. We have all these materials, but we have nothing from University of Idaho. We have nothing from WSU, and we have nothing from the feds. That's the trifecta. I'm going to give Jack Showalter another call. I really want Jack Showalter to be on my show when we go through part 2. I want to know if he wants to say anything to any of those amazing Moscow police officers or Idaho State police officers that could have potentially maybe fudged some, written work. I really want to ask him if he called in for a maintenance, to check on his water. I want to know if he ever knew that they had gotten a search warrant to go into his apartment based off of the false narrative that there was just blood outside of there, or it looked like there was blood outside of there, but it was just rust stains. And then they realized that, okay, this isn't blood and it doesn't look like it's been wiped off. But then these random maintenance workers call and say, oh my God, we were just in apartment 52. And let me tell you, there's blood everywhere. Fuck all that shit. Come on, Showalter. I need to call you up right now. It's like only 8:42 there, right? Maybe it's 9:42 there. Come on, Showalter. Answer. Come on. Don't make me get Molly on here and she doesn't puss out and you do though. Still waiting on my report they said it'd be at the end of this week, so I'm guessing I'll probably be live with it on Monday or Tuesday next week, which just gives me a crunch time. I'm trying to get Showalter. Come on, Showalter. There ain't no doubt about it. I think that you're innocent as fuck. Okay, I just got to ask you about this maintenance man. I want to know if you called in for a maintenance order for them to check on your water. Like, why would you ever have done that in the midst? Like, what guys ever do that anyways? In the midst of like this murder, like, oh my God, can you guys go check on my water? I want to know, did you place that order in like so long ago? Do you even know that they said that you did this? So come on. Maybe we'll find out about it in this second interview, but the second interview really focuses on Connor Chestnut. That's why I think they actually went back to talk to Showalter. I think they realized that his DNA does not match the sheath and, whatever. Yeah. So anything else? Anybody else? I do want to, I have a genuine question. I was wondering if because I want to follow up on this. If Jules can write me a list of every lie that she believes that the Gonsalveses have told her, I'm very curious in that. I don't know. Every single day, I get an email and someone is sharing something about like there's just another bomb going off between her and the Gonsalves family, and I just cannot follow this for the life of me. Um, and I just don't understand, and so I want to understand before I speak on it, but I don't understand. Can there ever just be like a agree to disagree moment? Like, hey, they see things this way, I see things this way. We're just gonna agree to disagree. I mean, this is a family whose child was murdered. So I'm just trying to understand why every other day I see somebody sending me an email and it's Jules and she's like fucking losing her shit on the Gonsalves family. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I have no idea. People are like, oh my God, I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. You guys, the Gonsalves family did not kill anybody. Like, we all know this, right? If you guys think that they killed people, I just need to know that you guys, like, you know that, right? Just like Ethan's family, they didn't, like, mom, dad, they didn't kill him. They didn't go up in there and kill people. Um, Kara and Jeff Kernoodle, they didn't go up there and kill people. Who else? Oh, Maddie's grandma went up there and killed people. I mean, I don't know, but maybe I need to. Mama J says I think it's because they bring her name up. Oh, well, I would love to see that. You know what I mean? That's why I'm asking. Highland, I think it happened reverse of that. You think it happened reverse? Reverse cowgirl style. That was earlier. Okay. We've heard enough of reverse cowgirl style out of Melanie. I have no voice because of this. Listen to Molly's interview, then listen to WSU Kim Mom. They sound alike. Jesus Christ. What? Oh my God. Reverse cowgirl style. You guys know what that's from. If you don't, now you know. That's good. You know what? Blocking's healthy. Blocking's healthy. You guys block people. Block people. That's what judges will tell you. Block people. People will tell you to block people. Like, oh my God, just block each other. But I need to find out what cease and desist. A cease and desist. I think that's how you spell it. Oops, if I did it. Who's cease and desisting? Lana, we love you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Brooke. She told them to block her. That's what they blocked me. If it hurts your mental health, blocks. You guys know I'm just getting slap happy. So if you guys want to hang around my last 15 minutes here. So I'm going to take a peek. You know, I usually don't do this, probably against my better judgment. But today's just been one of those days. Don't take it personal. I just saw, I was like, I have no idea. Like, none. So I was like, maybe Jules can just write me a list of all the lies because I thought it was about lies. I was like, lies. I don't know. This is what I saw. Chrissy Gonsalves, mother of 1122 King Road homicide victim Kaylee Gonsalves, speaks to Chris Hansen. I don't know. Is that it? Is that the one? Why did Ann Taylor fight front plate instead of fog lights? Wouldn't we all like to know that shit, right? I don't think she saw them. I don't think Ann Taylor saw them. That's my take. Oh my God. I don't know. Maybe she can just write a little note. Let's see. Let's see. Is anybody going to buy a white Elantra? Everything
Hey
big.
there, guys.
What's up, Jules? How you been, girl? You been doing well? Okay, girl. I just came to see, I don't know.
How are y'all doing today?
Fabulous. Thanks for asking.
Happy Tuesday.
Oh, happy Wednesday to you. Thank you.
I'm glad I was able to keep to doing an earlier live today. I do try to do them Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay, I get a Modelo.
I'm going to get this up on the screen so that I can get ready to share the screen first, and then I'll go in there and say hi. For that same morning, that was all very freaking normal. Like the ridiculousness and the complete contradictory, I guess, feelings that they have towards things that if the situation was any different, they would be feeling completely different about. You know what I mean? Like if he didn't have this just like horrible situation across the board on his name, and it was instead that he went out and saved somebody's life, and something in court went for that, and so then his phone records had to come out, and in all of that discovery they found out how much he talks to his family and how he talks to his family and the way that he calls them certain things. Nobody would be thinking negative about that because there wouldn't already be a negative aura on the whole thing. But because there is that negative aura, they want to take stuff that seemingly means literally nothing and twist it, and it's disgusting. Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that?
Because
in our old ages.
Well, I don't know. He's the one that stood up there and said, "I killed your kid." You know, I mean, that's probably why I would be saying it.
Why are we doing that?
I don't know, though. I don't know
get it.
About. Was this Chris Hansen?
You didn't look unrecognizable. Well, Miss Ma'am, to a regular human that doesn't know the ins and outs of their own sister, she did. For the seriousness of how she was attacked, she did. Why would you want to take that away while also wanting us to believe that this is something so horrible, which it is? But thing, or I just didn't need them to know because they're kids. They're certain.
Oh my God, Chris Hansen. Okay, so true story. A team that played trivia at one of my bars, their trivia team name was Chris Hansen is a cock block. Okay. They were the smartest motherfucking group of people. They were so fun. I was like, you guys are so bad. Chris Hansen's a cock block. Come with your wine coolers. Yeah, that's what I had to say when I had to announce their team points.
Things that they've always been told and I've been honest about, but then there's some things that I have to sugarcoat or just not tell them anything at all for a while until it's appropriate. I don't like that feeling. I don't like the feeling that I actually get inside of my body when I have to tell something that I know is not true.
I don't know.
Your conscience bothers me. I've never came out and just told that part.
The release of crime scene photos.
And Olivia.
In Idaho, lawmakers passed it. And it centers on.
It's only for the bodies, just so you guys know that. Crime scene photos are always going to be released in Idaho. It's just that the bodies will be like redacted, like how they are.
On
that part.
The release of crime scene photos.
And Olivia would have never seen Kaylee if she wouldn't have gone to the prosecution and asked to, which is her right. I'm not saying that that's wrong. She had every right to. That's her sister.
I agree.
But she also can't come out and say that she's advocating for something because of something that didn't technically happen. She saw those.
What?
She saw that picture because she specifically asked to. It wasn't FOIA'd. It wasn't put out on any public forum. She went and met with the prosecution and saw this one picture where Maddie was redacted. And according to her, it was Kaylee and the destruction. And this is where she started getting all metaphorical, which is not the time and place for it. When you're trying to get a law passed and you're putting your speech and stuff out there, you should not be trying to be metaphorical and be like, oh, silly little police officers and their silly little words. You didn't look unrecognizable. Well, Miss Ma'am, to a regular human that doesn't know the ins and outs of their own sister, she did. For the seriousness of how she was attacked, she did. Why would you want to take that away while also wanting us to believe that this is something so horrible, which it is? But why would you say that kind of thing when you're trying to get a bill passed to stop these things from coming out, which again, they didn't come out? whatever happened with the drop back in January where Xana's picture was shown, that was immediately taken off of the Idaho page where it was dropped from because it wasn't leaked. I don't know why some people are trying to say that this picture was leaked. It was put there. It was in the official drop from ISP. There was the photo of her arm, the side of her face. You could see the markings, the holes where the knife went through on her arm. You could see how covered in blood she was. You could see the details that we, sad to say it, needed to see for how serious the situation was. But you couldn't see her actual face. You could not tell by her face, if you didn't know the case, who it was. There was also like 2 that showed like pieces of her hair on the body bag. I think 1 on the pillow. But in way of what this law passed and what Olivia was trying to talk about, Olivia saw that picture in a closed room with the prosecutor's office. And saying that they wanted this law to pass because the prosecutor said that they couldn't guarantee that these photos couldn't be leaked is as ridiculous as trying to strengthen gun laws like criminals give a shit.
What are we talking about? I don't understand. Like, what do you mean? Of course she doesn't want crime scene photos to be leaked because, like, that's exactly why she doesn't want them leaked. Why? You don't believe that's the reason? What? I'm confused. What? That's exactly why she wants the photos not to be out. She just said, like, why would she want to wait every single day wondering, is today the day that crime scene photos come out with my sister and another girl that I consider my sister's body? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want to see that, right? I think they should just be banned from the internet, but we should be able to go to any department to make sure that, hey, that's how we check on the government. Go see the shit in person. There just doesn't need to be they don't need to be out on the internet as far as like the bodies, you know. But I would think anybody would be advocating that their loved ones wouldn't be. I mean, I wouldn't want my brother to be seen naked if there's pictures of Ethan naked, like, right? I mean, how? I don't know. I don't see how this like. I don't understand. I don't understand what the problem is, because I think that it should just be like, hey, I have my opinion, you have your opinion. Jules can have her own opinion, right? Whatever the fuck Jules wants to say, that's awesome. But I don't understand why anybody would be wrong. Nobody would be wrong in their in their opinion. Whatever your opinion is your opinion.
Couldn't guarantee that these photos couldn't be leaked is as ridiculous as trying to strengthen gun laws like criminals give a shit. Passing a law about the deceased photos not coming out via FOIA does not stop someone from leaking something. That's redundant. Redundant. So while I don't want to see it myself, I've never wanted to see it. I know there's some people out there that want to see it. I don't want to see it. I do believe that there are probably things that you should have to have certain certifications for in order to be able to access. And honestly, because of how disgusting humans are, the pictures of the actual bodies probably should be one of those things. Now, the crime scene itself.
So we're all agreeing. Yay! See, Lana just comes to town, and we're all agreeing. We're all agree here. But I don't agree that we all need certifications. If I want to check on my government, I'm going to check on my government. You know what I'm saying?
With blurs and redactions of said bodies, no, those should be public. If you're going to try someone in public, then the evidence should be out there in public. Yes, there should be stipulations. I'm fine with those. I'm not one of those arguing with that. Literally at all.
I don't even know what's going on here.
But I also don't understand why they didn't just redact what happened with Xana in that one and then like put it back on the page, like with the redactions.
Didn't they?
I find that kind of strange because it's been months.
Absolutely. Hold on. Let me see if Meka Heda. Have you guys ever heard of Meka Heda, Juno? Let me see. I don't know if it's on Twitter. If he does Twitter more, Meka Heda. Yeah, here. Now, this is, what the fuck? No. Meka Heda. Yeah, here we go. Heda Meka. Okay, here we go. This is what really like zens me. I'm gonna give you guys a little something. What's going on here? I don't know what's going on now.
It has been some months. Thank you. Here, let's get back to this. I've been talking a lot.
Let's get back. I don't even know what
and specifically the crime scene photos of this horrific murder that took place in Idaho. Why was it so important to your family, to you, to get this legislation passed so that these photos are not released and circulated on the internet?
Well, you know, there's a couple reasons.
But I'll just say again before I let this continue. There's already something in place, obviously, or the mistake with Xana's body wouldn't have been corrected, if that makes sense. Now, I know that by the time I saw it and messaged Xana's mom to tell her, because for those of you who don't know, before the plea especially, we used to speak a lot. So when this happened, I pulled her number up and I sent her a text. I was like, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I'm just letting you know. And at that point, it was still up there. About an hour or so later, I think we were live when it was actually like taken down about an hour, maybe 2 hours after I messaged her. I feel like that was it. So, but there was already something in place, obviously, for the bodies to not come out publicly. So while, again, I don't have a problem with this law, the way that they're acting about it is interesting because I don't know if that stipulation is just for this case or if that's just a stipulation that Idaho has like all together, unless there's certain things. But we do need to remember that in reality.
Okay, this is what I want us to just focus on for a second. Okay, you guys just need to go on Twitter, Facebook, whatever the fuck you want, okay? And you're going to come right here to, it's called Hate-a-Maka, okay? Okay, now, I about died when I saw this today.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What is this?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all of y'all. The scene here is very chaotic.
It looked like
Let me turn it down.
Okay.
That's my mama. Yeah, that's my mama. Ain't she crazy? Swear I get it from.
Oh, well.
If you're ever wondering where I get my craziness from, it's from her.
It's from her. All right. He said,
Let me change the beat up. Get it, mama. Hey. Let me ask you a fucking question. Mama, does carpet match the drapes?
ew!
Does the carpet match the drapes?
Ah!
That's a question. You're colorblind? Didn't know that. That's a new one on me.
That was colorblind.
Hey, get it, mama. Right.
I like that beat, though.
Peace out. Bye, y'all. We love
I know
y'all.
what Mama
all.
meant when she said you fucking color your hair, you're gonna fry it. I thought my shit was gonna blow up in there.
Y'all heard her. Hey, glad it didn't know. Bye.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Damn!
You threatened me when you flipped me off.
How's that a threat?
What, telling somebody fuck you?
Yeah,
How is
that's
that
a
not a threat?
That's a threat.
How is that not a threat?
What did I say I was going to do to you?
You said you were gonna fuck me.
I know you fucking lying. I know you fucking lying.
You said you're gonna fuck me.
Yeah.
All right, they running around saying you're going to set the whole trailer park on fire for the one time. Now, what's going on, hell?
If you wonder why I said I was gonna burn it down to the fucking ground, he threatened my husband.
Husband? Somebody... So you say he threatened you. What type of threaten was it, and what did he threaten you with?
With my life.
He threatened you with your life? Nah. Hell yeah.
And if John James Wolfe.
Hell yeah.
I know you.
Yo, what up? Girl, where your clothes at? Coming out the house looking like that. Where your clothes? You ought to be. Girl, where your knees at? Go to hell.
You know when you buy something and then you're just like, I don't know what to wear this with. That was me in this brown skirt. So I kind of took a peek around the internet and kept seeing them styled with black accessories, which normally I'm not a brown girly. So that's why I was like trying to figure this out. And then I was like, wait, I can wear my.
Oh, hell.
Somebody make
sense.
You have all this green grass. Dublin! Dang it! Everybody else is content. Everybody else is just grazing. Just Dublin! You know what? No, you just walk through. I'm gonna make you walk back. Turn around. You go back through that. No, go back through that fence. Dumpling. Don't. Oh, okay. Just gonna walk away while I'm talking to you. Okay. You know what? Fine. You just go. Be a lone cow. Just a free range cow. Guess that's what you are now.
What the fuck?
Yo.
Friday night at the cat house. This is my baby. This is that's solid. That's King Oliver.
King Oliver.
He's such a good boy.
Yeah.
Here is.
Yo, what up, man? Bro, you ain't said nothing but a word. I do them all day. When you get down with it, hold it. If you're gonna do it right, you gotta. Oh my God. Yo, what up, man? Bro, you ain't said nothing but a word. I do them all day. When you get down with it, hold it. If you're gonna do it right, you gotta. Oh my God.
All right, everyone. So this is before cleaning my room.
I know you're fucking. What is going on, bro?
How could you have, let's say, people who are raised by the same parents in the same way?
Mm-hmm.
One becomes a narcissist and one doesn't.
Because no two kids are raised in the same family. No two children have the same parents. Do you have siblings?
Yes, older and younger.
And to you YNs out here thinking that y'all own everything, show me that you know how to put up a stop sign. Show me that you know how to mix and pour concrete and put your handprint in.
How you doing? This is my MySpace song.
I see you out there, man, living life. Keep your chin up no matter what. Because I can tell sometimes people might try to make you put your head down and feel some type of way about yourself. But I'm going to tell you this. Keep your chin up. And no, that ain't no diss. Of course not. Subliminal. Why would I do that? Passive aggressive. Who? Me? Of course not. I'm just here to uplift, baby. And
when your baby daddy use another bitch for some money and you get the liquor bottle, you get the weed, everything. Thank you, honey, for sending us the money last night for the room, the gas, the liquor, and the weed, and my Burger King.
You did. Never mind the $96 that y'all on top of the world about. Did this nigga got on a short sleeve V-neck hoodie?
What the fuck is going on in the world? This is what makes life.
Yo, what up with the Al Gang? I had a few people asking me about my tea concoction that I was drinking earlier.
I know.
6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7 oh 6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7.
What is this?
Raspberry voltage Mountain Dew. I'm about ready to investigate for you. Make an investigation video of it. I've always liked raspberries ever since I first tasted raspberries back.
Cause these are my feet.
Yeah, people think I can't rap, but that's the show. It's whatever you got say, that's in your opinion. I be doing this shit.
Hey, blow the whistle right now. It's a celebration right now.
Wait, where did you put the
Brooklyn's gender reveal. Over there trying to get her love started, y'all.
Okay. Anyways, go ahead. If you need to just take a moment. Wow. Now, that's what I feel like the Turtle Boy must watch every single day to get his next story. What the fuck? Shit you not, man. I feel like I was like, oh my God, I've solved the case. This is where Turtle Boy goes to find his fucking story. I got kicked out of my bed right because of this shit. Anyways, my attention span was just not having it. Jules, I'll give you one more chance, okay? One more chance. What we got? Okay. Now that I'm rejuvenated, vaginal rejuvenation.
Something already was out from an official release, not a leak, an official release, and it was removed because it wasn't supposed to happen.
Wow.
So there's already technically something in place for this.
But the first and most importantly, it is our daughter deceased in a horrible manner. Police described Kaylee as unrecognizable, disfigured. They couldn't really understand what they were looking at, couldn't grasp what the injuries were. Our family didn't want to see it, and we didn't feel that anybody should be seeing that.
Absolutely.
Now I know that most of us know this already, but I just wanted to put that in there for those of you who don't. From what we've always understood, and this just clarified it, they never viewed Kaylee's body before the cremation. I don't know if I could have done that. I think I would have demanded it regardless. I would have had to have seen that as my own self, as a parent. I would have had to have seen it. I can understand it being described to you and being not wanting that to be a vision that you have in your head of your child. But that's still a crazy thought. That's where I'll just say it like this. I've not wanted to believe in a lot of the stuff that's talked about out there. But that reason itself is one of the reasons why a lot of people think that somebody might have been a CI and somebody might actually be alive out there somewhere. And there's just a bunch of stuff happening. That's one of the reasons. Again, I never believed in those things. I know a lot of people really do.
Because they didn't view her body? What? So they just got fake ashes? I don't understand. I don't get it.
And that's fine. I can see
people thought that. Well, people are absolutely fucking people believe in Santa,
why, but this is one of the reasons, because they never saw before the cremation happened what her body looked like.
The internet is wide open for anybody to look and look at that stuff. And, part of us almost thought that does looking at that type of material, does that feed into certain types of personalities that could just create another maniac, such as Koberger?
Well, these are all very valid concerns, and we should say that the city of Moscow, Idaho, the police department, when these photos were initially released, they were merely following the open records guidelines, the law of the state of Idaho at the time. So when people requested these, they were public records and were released as such. But
when people requested these, the very first batch of photographs that came out from MPD, and remember, for those of you that have been here for this ride, when we requested those MPD photos, we were given the redacted version that had 40-something pictures gone. I was told by Amber that works for the FOIA stuff, works and does the FOIA stuff at MPD. Only one entity got those photos. That would have been the media, I guess. I haven't FOIA'd the FOIA yet, but I'm assuming it's the media, the local media that posted them on YouTube, the first ones that we saw. Even those, when it comes to the bed with Ethan on it, Ethan's body is completely blurred out. And I wasn't really sure at first if Ethan's body was even in the picture or if they were just trying to cover up the blood itself. But then I verified with MPD and put a video out showing my clarification email from them that the bodies were indeed in those pictures. So I actually don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that MPD did the blurring, but I honestly don't know that. I don't know if they, for some reason, would have released them to the media full on with no blurring. I didn't ask, but I guess I probably should. I'm assuming they would, right? Because the media, regardless, can't show that shit on YouTube. They're not going to do it. So they could have, but I'm pretty sure the MPD did. But only one entity got all of those pictures. So again, when he's trying to sit here and say, oh, these things were released, and they're talking about deceased body pictures. They're talking about seeing the destruction in Kaylee's face. That's not what came out. Do y'all see what I mean? They're trying to use the walls and the spatter and comparing it to the same thing as like a full-on autopsy photo of Kaylee's face. That's not what happened. Anywhere near what happened here.
Who's trying?
And they're intertwining the two to try to make something relevant, because they can't sit here and have a really strong argument for something that technically hasn't happened, with the argument being the way that they're trying to put it out there. Does that make sense? I'm sure you guys understand what I'm trying to say.
I agree with you. And again,
well, actually, with EWU's appeal, you need to read that appeal. That appeal is saying that they're over redacting and talking about a lot of things.
I've spent my life professionally as an adult finding out information about crimes. But
they were talking about being ignored and not struggle to freaking.
I don't understand.
We played it on this channel. It was sent to me. It's out there for the public. Please go watch it.
Watch what?
Watch how she looks at her child at the end of that video. Watch how she's behaving. Watch how she's acting in that testimony. And for them to say that they played such a big part and like all these people were so excited and like reaching out to them and talking to all these people, if you go and you watch the testimony, the guys that she's talking to don't even know how to pronounce her last name. They don't even know who she is or what she's there to talk about.
Who?
To them, she's just somebody coming up to say something about the bill. They don't know who she is. Should they have? Probably, because this family is involved in one of the most high-profile cases in Idaho. They should have known who she was. They should have known how to say her name. They didn't. I mean, that says a lot in itself. But if you haven't watched the testimony, either go back and find the video where we went over all the discrepancies, because it's in there, or just go find it. It's there.
Everybody in the family support. But the
shit. How do people not see this and not question this more? It's just like with everything that just went down with the cease and desist and all that bullshit. When they addressed it on their Facebook page, they sure did not mention that it was sent to Steve's older daughter. They just wanted to make it sound like it was just regular schmegulars, like people like me. No, it was his child. There's a reason that
regular schmegulars. Jules, we are not regular schmegulars, girl. Okay, you can call yourself a regular schmegular, but I am not going to call myself a regular schmegular. That made me laugh.
They didn't put that in their response to it because they don't want their cult on that page to know the truth. They have been doing nothing but telling lies in every aspect of everything here. Why? It's not necessary. Everything sucks enough. This whole thing is shitty enough. Why is this the way that they've decided to play this game?
She's just calling them out on
I don't understand it. I'm frustrated and aggravated because nothing has stopped. If anything, it's gotten worse. The lies in the WSU lawsuit, the continuance of coming out and not being honest, I don't comprehendo.
No comprehendo.
I don't understand.
Well, obviously they don't have a voice, but Olivia was like, I'm going to be her voice. And nobody needs to see this.
You must be very proud of her for
that Olivia gave. We played it on this channel. It was sent to me. It's out there for the public. Please go watch it. Watch how she looks at her child at the end of that video. Watch how she's behaving. Watch how she's acting in that testimony. And for them to say that they played such a big part and like all these people were so excited and like reaching out to them and talking to all these people, if you go and you watch the testimony, the guys that she's talking to don't even know how to pronounce her last name. They don't even know who she is or what she's there to talk about. To them, she's just somebody coming up to say something about the bill. They don't know who she is. Should they have? Probably, because this family is involved in one of the most high-profile cases in Idaho. They should have known who she was. They should have known how to say her name. They didn't. I mean, that says a lot in itself.
Everybody messes up the way they say their name. I mean, I wouldn't say that they don't know her. I mean, they've had conversation with Olivia talking about the bill. I don't. So she's just got like rowdy on them. Like, motherfucker, this is my name. My name's Olivia Gonsalves. Like, people would say like Lana instead of Lana a lot if they weren't like my friend or like my teacher, you know. But I wasn't like, the fuck? Who are you talking to?
If you haven't watched the testimony, either go back and find the video where we went over all the discrepancies, because it's in there, or just go find it. It's there.
Everybody in the family support. But the grief here, the loss, and the method of murder is incomprehensible in this case. And I've covered violent crimes for 46 years, literally. Some of the worst things that human beings can do to each other.
Fucking wine coolers. Chris Hansen, 46 years.
Well, then, honey, baby, I don't know what to tell you. In your age, you should understand accountability. All we want is honesty. All we want is the truth. All we want is for you guys to come out and say, we said this is where we got the information from. Obviously, it was false, and we didn't have the right information that could have led to that answer in the first place because we weren't given anything from the state. The state wasn't talking to us. People need to have questioned that a long time ago. How do y'all have anything to go and get these answers? How do y'all have anything from his devices? How do y'all have anything from his history if it's a sealed up case with a gag order and no one's talking to you? We know they haven't been talking to them since like the grand jury. Before that, they were talking about being ignored and not being given updates while they were still in front of the news before Kohberger's arrest. I mean, come on. This has been a constant for them. They created their own information because they couldn't be trusted by the people to be given that information. I don't know what it means in way of how the case went. I just know that that's what happened. They admitted it themselves. So no, Christy, it's not an attack. It might feel like an attack because it's a constant, but what you guys are doing is also a constant. That's the problem. All we want is for y'all to come out and be honest.
Honest about what though? It's a fluid case though. Like if they weren't at different times they're getting information and at times they're not, right? Hey, you want to know what's going on? Yeah. Then they get an arrest. What if then like they're like people start opening up to them? I have no fucking idea, right? But it's I would just say it's a fluid case. All cases are fluid. You know?
I just don't understand why that is so hard for them.
And, you know, the justice system is not.
I think that we got the most of the information from this family. What have we gotten from Ethan's family? What have we gotten from Maddie's family? What have we gotten from Xana's family? You know? And I'm just like, I think that true crime people, that's us. Families that become victims and they're little babies that went off to college, right? Are murdered and their headspace but they're trying to listen to what they're being told, remember what they're being told, and then tell that to the media. You know what I mean?
Not something easy to go through. So
you can also only give answers to the questions that are asked. You know what I mean? So maybe they've been just interviewing with bad people. You know, there's just a lot to it. I don't know.
You know, just thinking that we were going to be going to trial and all the proceedings before that were very mentally and emotionally exhausting and painful, you know, constantly waiting for.
I would think that they would be. I don't know how people would think that that's a lie.
And I'm not saying, thank you for being here for 8 months, Shelly. I'm not saying that dealing with this didn't suck. I know that they lost a kid and I know that this has to suck. Like I get how much it has to suck, but why do you want to add more to that?
Who's adding more though? How? They're suing. They got all the families to agree to sue WSU and to be able to get all this discovery that was hidden. FBI did the whole fucking shit. They sued WSU. They were in a lawsuit with WSU to try to get answers.
Why do you want to add more to that?
The judge to make a decision because I think there was very little ruling from the bench. So sometimes it was weeks waiting for a motion to be answered by the judge. And that just is very hard on the family. Things were trickled back to us during that time of Kaylee's. At some point, you know, we got a huge amount of Kaylee's things that were all boxed up, which I never went through until recently. And then there was also several.
Y'all remember?
Yes,
I'm stopping when I don't want to, but if you're not new here, you already know I talk a lot. Okay. Y'all remember when True Crime Design came out and told us a whole bunch of stuff about the LLCs or at least like the businesses that the consultancies used to dabble in. And it had a lot to do with like the cloud and stuff like that. And it was real shady looking. And literally like the very next day, Christy found a Post-it note that was in Kaylee's boxes talking about the cloud and something about like business notes about the cloud. And she posted it on Facebook. Knowing what had just gotten dug up, stuff that I went and found myself after watching the short that True Crime Design put out. I went out and found the business records myself. We talked about it. They fuel the shit. So not only do they constantly feel like they're being attacked, we know that they're like orchestrating a lot of that attack on themselves because they've got to have the attention.
Wait a second. Wait, what? Because she put out a video about, or a picture about Kaylee and some post-it notes. What are they fueling? I would just think that she's posting whatever the fuck she wants to post. If she wants to take a picture of herself, I don't know, flying a kite in the fucking middle of this fucking winter and it just fucking crashing. I mean, I would be like, that's what she did. I don't know what that's fueling. So you feel like she's trolling because that is what you feel like. You feel like Kaylee's mom was trolling. Like, oh, here, watch. I'm going to go grab this out and post this out. Watch here. Go ahead, take this and now go ahead and spin it. Like you like that.
You know damn well within 2 seconds when someone's talking about you. Y'all have got y'all's little snakes everywhere. Literally everywhere. So there's no way that they didn't know that that was the conversation being had. For her to find that perfect little post-it note that has all that information that suddenly became relevant, and that's what she posted on Facebook. Tell me she's not trying to.
Yeah, this isn't going on anybody. I'm trying to understand. That's why I'm watching it with all of you guys in public. So I can understand. So I can understand to say, hey, I just think that we need to focus on the case. And I just know that the Gonsalveses aren't the case. I know that the Gonsalveses with these other families are going to be able to get us more information. And so I think that's what we should be focusing on. But I think everybody has their right to say whatever the fuck they want, whenever they want. And you have the right to indulge in it. And you have the right not to indulge in it. And you have the right to comment on it. You know, that's the whole thing about YouTube, like freedom of speech. Like it happens all the time. You know, we're watching News Nation and I'm saying, well, what the fuck are these idiots doing? You know what I mean? I just don't think that to say that people bring this upon themselves because they talk or they're, dude, keeping this in the limelight, that's where that's how you get information. You know, putting the pressure on the police and these organizations, these government organizations to give up these FOIAs and not pull some shady ass shit to like lie as to why they could be redacted or why they don't have to give them out and claiming some privacy that just does not exist. I just think sometimes you get more with I don't know, honey. And I just think families that their children are murdered or their kids, young adults, whatever, they're always going to get more grace from me. And I just think that we need this WSU shit to be pushing forward and getting this discovery. And then now where I would have something to say, right, is let's say that this discovery came out and the families could put it out there and they didn't, right? But yet they wanted transparency, right? Then I think that I would have something to say about that. I'd be like, okay, so only transparency for the families, but not for the public who was asked 24/7 to help, you know? So things like that. That's just my take. I just know these families could just be doing nothing and just, hey, we're not going to sue anybody. Hey, like they're trying to get the information. What they want to think the information says or how they want to interpret it, it's up to them. That's on them. And like how I want to interpret it and how you want to interpret it, it's on all of us, you know? Like we have that right to, hey, this is how I see it. Hey, this is how I see it. This is how I see it. It just, I think these officers lied their fucking asses off. They lied their fucking asses off to these parents, and they did a lot of lying early on. I think the reports tell us that.
Fuel her own dumpster fire. Like, it's so predictable at this point.
Months later, we were given the option to go down to, they had like a modular home on U of I campus, and it had their bedroom set up, and we could go in there and get the rest of their things. So that was incredibly emotional. Seeing him in court, just being there in court. My husband and I think we missed 2 court appearances between Ada County and Lathrop County. So Lathrop County is a 6-hour drive for us. And, we were there.
Yeah, they were there and
we felt
everything.
it was important to be there. And it's very difficult. And I got my strength from God. And praying was very something that I found
That's rich coming from
to
them,
find
yo.
incredible strength in. And my husband, my family, my kids, my grand.
I think that's true. I think you would get your strength from your faith if you have it, you know what I mean? And then you're going to get your strength from your kids because you're trying to be strong for them as well. Like y'all lean on each other.
Kids, you have to keep going. You can't just lay down and die. You feel like you're going to. You absolutely do feel like you're going to. But
you know how many families get divorced when something like this happens? You know how many families like none of them, the other kids, they get like no attention and yeah, like a lot of bad shit. But you could see why. I mean, fuck, people get a parking ticket and lose their dicks. People cry about the craziest shit and just like, dude, put your life in perspective. Come on now.
God willing, you can't.
I mean, I get that.
I can't
but the way that
imagine
they're
getting
doing
the
shit is
call
wild.
that you got. And I can't fathom this crime happening at the University of Idaho in an off-campus home shared by, 4 college pals. It's not a place where you have to lock the doors, typically. I mean, I know you told
Yeah, and in 2022,
daughter
that's
to do
crazy.
so, I'm sure.
I
you did.
think that's great.
But they're just living their lives, and it's not
I think that I encourage everybody to go watch whoever they want, whenever they want. I'm all for that. I think it's important. I think anybody that tells you or says don't watch this person if you watch that, I think they're an absolute fucking idiot. Anybody says like if you support that person, what do you mean support? What are you talking about? People have opinions. Think about what you do with your spouse, man. Think about how many things you disagree with your spouse, and you're fucking married to them. Okay. I can disagree with my best friends about so much shit, and they're still my fucking best friend, man. Because that's not why I'm best friends with them. Because their opinion on like values core, But God, if they like a movie, I'm like, God, fuck, that movie sucked, Like, I just people's character, I don't know. So I always say I like people's work ethic. Okay, I'm a big person on like work ethic. I'm a big person on like doing things. What type of mom you are, what type of dad you are, if you're fucking like, if you can laugh at yourself, like I fucking dig that shit, if you don't take yourself too seriously, like so I hope they can get to a better place here for them. I wish that for them. All right, guys. As much as I would love to hear about Chris Hansen, I just can't. Get the energy you give, says don't slam Coke. Yeah, man. Yes. You get to pick how you choose you get to pick how you choose how you spend your time. You choose it. Like you get to pick your own adventure every fucking day, man. You can go out there and make your life like literally what you want it to be. So I'm all for it. Showed 80%, but that was incorrect. I don't know. What's up, Freckle baby? Yeah. I agree, Joe 13. You don't know, That's why you just have standards. You got to be as consistent as you can be, and it shouldn't be hard for you to be consistent if you're just being you. That's something that's bothered me so much, how these families aren't angry at DM and BF. I don't necessarily say like angry at them. Like I think that you would have questions, right? I think I would have so many questions, right? And all I would expect is that DM and BF would answer the questions of the families. if they were to have questions. Okay. That's all. That's what I think would be like, you know. But they're also just like, I would just ask if I could have questions. If I had questions, if I could come and, ask them. It's all over now. I would even want like stuff like to talk to them about like, what it was like living with them for those couple months when they all moved in, the different posts that they post on social media, like, I don't know. It wouldn't even just be about that night. It would just be in general. I love watching everyone, but Lana's lives at night right before going to bed are the best. I just put you guys all to sleep. Just keep on listening. They have no questions for them. That's what is weird. How do we know that? How do you know that? Have you asked them that? I guarantee you they have questions. Like, I'll put my whole channel on it that they have questions. All the parents, all the grandparents, all the siblings. Of course they have questions. So I will say this about, just because they put out those search warrants, you guys, a lot of them came back with no the bank accounts and stuff like that. There were none. Okay. And also what they do is we had this happen in the Moore case. Jennifer Drake thought that the Moores owned all of this property that they didn't own anymore. And it's because it showed everything that they used to, at one point in their lives, own. And I'm like, oh my God. But if you think about it, this entire time, Jennifer Drake's like, I'm going to be so rich. And didn't realize that, no, those properties, they don't own that anymore. Those were all over the years of like 40 fucking years. So, yeah. Not all of those credit and e-reports are right. So, for what it's worth, I've got to witness that myself. So, you guys have a good night. I kept you here for 3 hours. Oh my God, it's 12:30. I have a busy day tomorrow. Join me tomorrow morning. I'll be live at 8 a.m. We're gonna go down to the courthouse. We have Michael McKee is supposed to be there in person at 9 a.m. It's his first. It's multiple court appearances, but this first one that he's supposed to be in person. Maybe we'll be able to get him coming in. Diane will be there to slay it, and I'll be running. They got permission to live. It's going to be live. So I'll be running it live. So I'll be pressing play and it'll be all set up, and I'll be in the courtroom, but I'll also have it live here. And yeah. Lana has that laugh and that voice that just soothes the news. Soothing away, just snoozing and soothing. All right, guys, you take a good night's sleep. Go get it. And join me back in the morning. I'm hoping to hear some bombshells. I want to hear some more about this whole case. I think Diane's going to really push back and say that this is really vague. This is really vague. So, all right, ciao. Peace. You guys all rock. Thank you so much. Thank you, January. I appreciate you. And please go on over, watch Jules. I think she just dropped a new video. I'm actually interested in it because it's about it's that topic that I just said before that. Here, I'll actually rewind it right here. Go check it out. Where is it? It was like the third. She just had dropped it. Right here. Hit the live button. I think it's like this, or maybe it's a new video. Maybe you have to go to the video section. Yeah, no, go to video then. Yeah, right here. Why did Ann Taylor fight from license plate instead of the fog lights? So that just dropped. Go check that out. That might be interesting. That's a lot of questions that we have over here too. All right, guys, take care. Peace out. Be kind and always rewind. Welcome to Blockbuster.